We announced it. TBDEX 1.0 SDK is now out.
TBDEX is an open protocol that makes moving value around the world much more efficient and streamlined. We're solving this problem with TBDEX by building a standard open source protocol that anyone can use for free and plug into.
We're super excited to have developers be able to start looking at this technology and start implementing it. We've put together a new financial protocol that we believe can fundamentally revolutionize the way that we think about transmitting value around the world.
Hello, happy Friday. Thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time tuning in to TBD TV, this is a weekly live stream that we have where we speak to experts in either global payments or in SSI, which stands for self-sovereign identity. And basically today's topic is specifically going to be on a JavaScript browser API or a proposed W3C standard called Web Monetization. And this basically allows, from what I've learned, it allows automatic payments for content creators, which I think is really interesting. And it's made possible through the Interledger Foundation tech tooling and technology. But before we dive into talking to our guest today, I'm going to just play a little quick video just to give you an idea of what our live streams are normally like.
In the music industry, why people get overwhelmed with it is this is it. This is the music industry. If you zoom,
that's crazy.
Like this is every participant and every legal contract. And so, yes, it's really complex. But if you simplify it into a supply chain as a precursor to why SSI, why decentralized identity is so important, you have a lot of different industry identifiers. This is how you get paid, and your music, where it's used, gets tracked throughout the world.
When we were learning about Web 5, it really showed that there's so many possibilities regarding user safety and privacy that you can do with Web 5. So which is what the main focus we wanted our app to embody.
Especially with the ride-sharing experience, in doing our research, we found we're especially concerned about protecting their payment details, their location. These are really sensitive pieces of information. We're really compelled to help people feel safe and secured in our version of a ride-sharing app.
Suppose a Brazilian banking institution wants to leverage your tools. What would the flow be like? What are the protocols used in order to implement this flow?
A couple of different ways it can work. Sometimes if it's just that direct institution, they'll integrate with us using APIs in the back end. So that institution controls the front end. They can control the wallet, they can control their traditional web app, that then calls Finclusive to do those compliance checks and issue the Finc ID for them. Finclusive can issue the wallet, but typically it's our partners are doing.
I think education is probably what the internet was built for, sharing information, sharing knowledge. Platforms like YouTube, Twitch, etc. have done a fantastic job of connecting people who know a lot of information. However, it's very hard for someone to go onto YouTube and understand that the person that they're learning from is verified, a good educator, knows what they're talking about, 20 years in the business or whatever it is.
All right, so bringing our guest today on the stream from Interledger. Before we dive into anything about Interledger, I usually ask a couple icebreaker questions, so y'all are not ready for these, but that's okay. Like I said, it's going to be fun. So, my first question, I don't know if you all are familiar with the term struggle meal. Are you all familiar with that by any chance? You're not? Basically,
No.
okay, so I wasn't sure. I was like, this could be a question that might not be as relatable, but we'll see, right? Basically, it's like, you don't got that much in your pantry that day, or even when you were younger or whatever, and you're like, oh, I really like this type of food. Maybe it's like ramen noodles or whatever it was in college. So I'm curious from you all, do you have any like nostalgic struggle meals? Or you could be like, no, I'm like I never even had one. All my meals are like exquisite.
Oh, I wish for that. Alex, do you have one? I do have some.
I do have one. And it's one of my comfort foods as well. So my struggle meal is fries with eggs sunny side up. But here's the important part. So in Romania, me and Ioana, we grew up in Romania. We don't live there anymore, but we grew up in Romania. And in Romania, there's this all-purpose seasoning called vegeta. If you're from Romania or Hungary, you'll know what this means. It's basically salt and dried up veggies like carrots. It's a radioactive orange yellow thing, smothered in that, like sprinkled all over with that, and that's my struggle meal. That thing, I think later I found out that it has MSG in it, or natural MSG, or all the combos of those veggies are all MSG. Carry some MSG. It's crack. It makes you feel good, and I think you can
Yeah.
make one for like a couple of bucks. That's my
I
favorite
love-
comfort food / struggle meal.
Why does MSG taste kind of good though? Like I know it's bad.
It's good for you. It's good for you. It's good for you.
I think it's good. I'll go with the good. And that's also mine for sure. And when you were mentioning, both when you don't have anything left in the house, you will have some potatoes. Both in Romania and now in Germany where I live. So like potato is it's base of everything. You should have it all the time. And I don't do sunny side eggs. I do already mix it in the potatoes, and I also put cheese. If I have, that's luxurious, I know, but that's the most. If I'm sick, that's my to-go food because I know it's gonna make me good, both physically and also give me a comfort mentally.
Yeah, I love it. Those are both good ones. I mean, I never like ate the Romanian versions, but like you can never go wrong with potatoes. It's filling. You can never go wrong with eggs or rice. Like, and sometimes the struggle meals taste really good. Like you're like, you know what? This tastes so good. Let's see what the audience said. Tanya said ramen with eggs and
Yeah.
hot sauce or bread with butter. Yeah, bread with butter smacks. And then also saying hey to Ace. And I know that Ace worked with you back at
Yeah.
Code Sandbox. He works with me.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
then Tanya
I'm glad
said,
to
and
see
also
him.
harmless.
I agree with Tanya. I
Awesome.
think
And
lately there is a debate if it's good or bad. So don't take us for granted. Research and try it first and see how it is for you.
people told me it's bad, but I'm like, I still eating it. I don't care. Okay, wait, one more icebreaker question before we dive in. And this question is more around like engineering. And I'm just curious, in your opinion, should senior engineers be expected to mentor more junior employees? Some people say no, some people say yes. Just curious from your perspective, sorry.
I value a lot mentorship. I think in any point in life you can mentor others. They grow exponentially faster than without mentorship. And that is also what I see the struggles when you don't have a mentor in any of your directions, either career, engineering, or speaking, or I don't know, doing sports. It's way harder to do without a mentor. And it feels like you're skipping some levels if you have a mentor alongside. So I would definitely encourage seniors to mentor juniors.
Yeah, I like that. What about you, Alex? Any thoughts on that?
So I'm gonna be a bit controversial, right? I feel like seniority has nothing to do with how long you've been around in development and with what mindset you have. So you can be a junior after 10 years, or you can be a senior after like 4. And the difference is how you approach something that needs doing and how much trust and accountability you take for every single thing you do. So yes, if you have juniors in your team and they are struggling, you should feel proactive to help them out and mentor them if you're a senior.
Yeah.
Nobody has to tell you that. Nobody has to make mentorship part of what you do or your goals, right? You see a problem and you fix it. You don't wait for other people to hand you problems. And once you see a problem, you can take it to completion. And I think that's what a senior is. So mentorship is one of those
Yeah.
things where you don't only have to mentor your juniors, right? For example, some of the seniors in our team have highly desirable skills, I don't know, like Rust or DevOps, right? Those people mentor other seniors as well. So helping other people learn and upskill is part of the senior mindset in my books.
Oh, I agree. And by the way, it's not controversial. I think this is it, seniority. Seniority experience that you have, it can be gained in 1 or 2 years, or it can be in, I don't know. But the fact how you approach a new problem, a new, coding issue or literally problem in your life, that's how you should help others, not getting stuck and stuck them with solutions and, lend a helping hand. But by, not cheating with them or anything, but more like telling them the way to get to the solution faster.
Yeah, I love both of your answers. And the reason I had asked is I saw different opinions on Twitter, and I was really surprised at some of the opinions. So I was like, I'm curious what you all think as engineering managers and CTOs. But let's dive into oh, go ahead.
No, I was about to say that probably if they are required as part of their role, that's why the friction comes, because they would not want, or not everyone wants to be a mentor to take this responsibility. So that's why sometimes making it officially imposed is not bringing the results you want.
Okay, so that's a good perspective. You're like, it shouldn't be required, but as a senior engineer, maybe you should want to mentor or strive to help your coworkers. All right, let's dive into y'all's careers, and then after that, we'll dive into Interledger. So for Alex, oftentimes when people think of DevRel, they're like, oh, this kind of has a cap in how far you can go. Like maybe you can just go up to like specific seniority levels, but you may never reach C-suite. However, you're one of the rare people who have reached into like a CTO role, which I think is impressive. I'm curious, like what key factors have contributed to your transition from being a DevRel manager of a different company and then becoming a CTO at Interledger?
Ooh, that's a very good one. So my very first job on this world is when I met Ioana. I can't remember how long ago, 13 years ago? I honestly know, 14 years ago, probably 14 years ago, right? So that was the first job I ever had. And the first job I ever had was one I didn't really want. I wanted to be an iOS developer, and the company Ioana worked at, they were doing a pre-employment training. So basically they paid you to learn, but at the end of it, you didn't know if you had the job or not. And when I interviewed for it, I interviewed above the range for the other candidates. And the HR person said, hey, we'll accept you into the training, but there's no guarantee you'll get a job at the end of the training. But we also have this position open for a software developer in test, which is a permanent position, and you'll be writing test code. And it was paying slightly higher than the training. And I was like, I like money, I need to pay bills, let's do it. The thing that the lady from HR forgot to mention, because that's what usually happens on an interview process, is I wasn't going to start writing code on the first day. I think I did about 5 months or more of manual testing, where Ioana was leading a team of manual testers across the office from you. We were all working on Mozilla projects. I think we were working on Firefox 3.5, 3.6, and 4.0 at the same time. So I did software testing, manual software testing, and then I did automated software testing. And then I leveraged that job because we were testing browsers and browser internals. So all of us in that office, I think there were like 20-something of us at that point, knew how every single browser worked, because we had to test one of them and compare them against the others. And then I leveraged that into a performance engineer, because browsers back then were very you still had to write different code for different browsers. There was no interop layer, and things worked differently in them. So understanding how one of the browser engines worked meant you could really make JavaScript fast. Angular was not a thing back then. I think I started, in my fourth year of development is when Angular popped up like that. So I started doing web development, web performance. And at the same time, I was part of the Mozilla community. And another touch point with Ioana, we were Mozilla reps, mentors. We were Mozilla volunteers for a really long time. And part of that was speaking in public. Part of that responsibility, there was this program called Tech Speakers, which basically Mozilla used to have this forum where you got, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 requests per week to go speak halfway around the world. And they had a developer relations team of 3. Those people couldn't travel that much. So they leveraged the team of community volunteers. They paid for our travel and accommodation, and we used to go all over the world and speak about web technologies. So I was doing that while still entertaining the idea that I'm a developer in London. And I think it was around May when I was supposed to go to Poland to speak at a conference, and I was out of vacation days because I used to do this out of my time off, right? And I was out of vacations days in May, and I wanted to take unpaid time off. My manager wouldn't give me unpaid time off, but I committed to the conference in Poland. So what I did was quit my job on the spot, go to Poland, speak at that conference, and at that conference I met Phil Nash. I'm sure everyone in DevRel knows Phil Nash by now. I met Phil Nash. I knew Phil from other conferences. We shared the stage on several conferences. We were hanging out at the speakers after party. Technically, it was the speakers after party. But he said something that never occurred to me. And he said, "Don't you think it's time you got paid for speaking on stage?" By the way, Twilio has a job opening for a developer advocate. And I was like, okay, I don't have a job. I could do this for a living. In the meantime, I met the very kind people at Nexmo. I think while I was still interviewing with Twilio, I met the kind people at Nexmo, and I told them about interviewing with one of their competitors, at which point Phil Lakatos was like, well, we have an open position for you. In the interview process, I chose Nexmo over Twilio. I chose Nexmo over Twilio just because they were the underdogs. I like an underdog story. We at Interledger are underdogs ourselves. That is how I chose Interledger when I chose it. But I leveraged that into developer relations. And so I've changed career tracks a bunch of times, right? I've changed from manual tester to automated tester to performance engineer to some sort of engineering manager in Romania. I hated it, by the way. I absolutely hated it. And I went back into development, and then I picked up developer relations, and then I managed the developer relations program. So changing tracks and using skills I learned that in my other roles was something I was very familiar with. So when this opportunity came along, it was about leading technology as a team of one. So at Fidel, I was at Fidel before this. It's an API company, startup out of the UK or Lisbon. Depends on how you look at it. But I was a developer relations team of one, and I leveraged the entire company, 40 or so people, to do DevRel. So when this opportunity came to be a technology team of one, I think when I started at Interledger, I gave myself a made-up title because I didn't want to call myself CTO with no team. Yeah, Angie says we have similar paths. Yes, we do. But it teaches you, especially automation, it teaches you to break things, challenge systems. It teaches you to use all kinds of interesting skills to do your job. But no, the idea was I was a team of one again, and I knew I could figure it out. Now, the technical ability, I had that for my development job. The how do things work, I had that for my software development and test job. And then the talk with people, advocacy, relationships, all of that, I had that from advocacy. The problem is there's a bunch of things that none of the other jobs prepared me for. The fact that I haven't really, every time I touch code, one of our engineers kindly asked me to stop. I think I opened up VS Code. I think while we were in Romania with Ioana a couple of weeks ago, I opened up VS Code, and VS Code said it wasn't updated in 5 months. I think I didn't open VS Code in 5 months. Now I spend my time on emails and spreadsheets and budgets and meetings with people all day long, relationships. So none of the other jobs prepare me for this life. I think I kind of figured it out. At a certain point, when change becomes natural and you change from one to the other to the next, I think if I was a developer for like 13 years, I I couldn't pick up being a CTO. I couldn't make this transition. But the fact that every 5 years or so, 3 years or so, I changed career tracks, it made it easy to change into the CTO role. Embrace change, adopt change.
Yeah,
Change isn't bad.
I love that, how each of your different roles have like basically contributed to where you are today. And when you did say like automation and stuff like that, I'm like, Angie did have a similar path like that, like test automation, DevRel, and now she's a VP of engineering. I mean, not engineering, of DevRel. So um, for Ioana, I do have a question too for you. Basically, you transition from like working at CoSandbox. This is like a cloud developer environment to now you're engineering manager at Interledger. And the way I'm looking at it, it's like a nonprofit, but it's also like a financial like type of tech company. And I was curious, like how did you experience any learning curves and what helped you? I kind of assume maybe some of your work or your contributing with Mozilla helped, but I'm just curious from your perspective.
Yeah, that's a good question. And now, to be honest, taking a pause to think about it, it feels really connected for me. And even before Custom Box, working with Mozilla, like you said, put the brick of this foundation of open web, contribution, open source the programming. I wasn't new to it. Of course, I did a lot of it before, but Mozilla literally raised the bar of how I feel about open source software, how much I volunteer nowadays. So when I joined Custom Box, I was looking for the same values of being, helping other people to onboard, making them easier to code, and being open source. The first version of Custom Box was open source. It all felt like I was going one step at a time. And to be honest, last year when I first joined Interledger as external to speak at their summit, I learned about their technology and I was like, wait a minute, maybe where Alex is working right now is not that bad. I mean, it seems that they are really trying to help people on board. It's open source again, it's on the web, it's free. And I was like, okay, this kind of matches my values. So when I did start talking about changing jobs and Alex offered the opportunity to join them, I was like, it makes sense. It really makes sense. And it was a learning curve. The only difference, or the only big difference that it was, is that I wasn't that familiar with everything in the money, finance, banking system that nowadays we work daily. I don't work with banks necessarily, but I have to be knowledgeable about their system to explain to people why Interledger is not a bank, why it's good to use us, why they should, still believe in us or, not be afraid of us while we're doing this. So all these kind of things were new to me. I did learn a lot while joining. I saw what we are doing before. I saw it in practice, and I was like, okay, I'm convinced it's definitely something for me to join. And again, it matches all the values that I want to work in open source, on the web. I'm not blocked by anything on that. So really was a match. Another big in this foundation, stable foundation of working in the open web.
I love that. Working in open source, working in open web, it's always a rewarding experience. We're going to dive into what is Interledger since you guys have talked about it a little bit. But before we do, I just want to let people know about the TBDEX hackathon that we have right now. There's only 3 days left for your submission. So I'm going to put the video up real quick, and then we'll come back to talk about Interledger. All right, cool. So we're back. Let's dive into Interledger. Basically, I saw that you all have like a ton of different projects. So I'm curious, like, what's the core mission or the core goal of the Interledger Foundation from your perspective?
Ours is easy. So we believe in digital financial inclusion. Our mission is to make sending a payment as easy as sending an email. Right now, if I wanted to send money to Ioana, so I am currently in Singapore. I practically might still live in the UK, even though I'm a digital nomad. I think my finances are in the UK. Ioana is in Germany, I think. Hopefully, Ioana's in Germany. Even though I don't recognize the background, she's not in Germany. She's probably in Greece, right? But she banks in Germany, right? So two countries which are relatively close together. If I wanted to send Ioana money, I can't really, and that's because the UK and Germany have different account information. Like my bank needs an account number and a sort code, and the UI in that app is locked, so I can only send money to something that has an account number and a sort code. Ioana's bank has an IBAN, an International Banking Association number, right, which is a very long number. My bank app doesn't really recognize that as valid addressing system, and that's just step one. If I really wanted to send money, if I wanted to send Ioana $10 for, I know, a coffee, or 10 euros for having lunch, I'd just not do it. Not worth the hassle. If I had to send Ioana a lot of money, I'd struggle to go through the process. I'd talk to a bank representative, I'd give them all the details, and then they come back with a quote for me. Because the European Union and the UK used to be connected a while back, that's not very expensive. It probably cost me about 5%, 6% to send Ioana money. If Ioana was in a different part of the world, and that's because my bank and Ioana's bank probably have a relationship somewhere. But if I wanted to do the same thing for, I don't know, Nigeria, for example, banks in the UK and banks in Nigeria do not have a working relationship. So we'd have to go through a third-party bank like Bank of America, something in the US that has connections to all over the place. The transfer would take about 6-7 days. It's usually called T+7, so probably it would take 7 days. And then I pay 18% in fees to move the money. All of these is the reason why Interledger exists, why the Interledger Foundation was set up, why people so Stefano never invented the Interledger protocol exactly for this. To solve for just, I want to send money to this human around the world. How hard can it be? They used the TCP IP protocol as a blueprint, the same way TCP IP works for the internet. Interledger works for money. It connects networks of money, or actually it connects networks of value. It doesn't really have to be money. What the three of us here think as of money, some other people might have different ideas. Some people transact in airtime and send each other airtime, and that's become currency in other parts of the world.
You know what's? Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, I feel like our community is quite familiar with this use case or this problem because we're trying to solve a similar problem with a tool that we have called TBDex. So I think I was curious I don't know if you all will know because you're not as familiar with TBDex. We're trying to do like that same thing of basically making it easier to exchange money like cross border. But I did see in the areas that you all maybe refer to yourselves as more cross ledger than cross border, and I was curious, like, what's the difference, or what does cross ledger mean rather than cross border? I don't know.
So Interledger is designed as an interoperability layer. So if you think about the three of us and how TCP/IP works for us, right? I'm on a MacBook now. Ioana, I think, is also on a MacBook. But someone somewhere else might be on a Windows machine, right? Completely different hardware, but the TCP/IP protocol still works the same. The same packets of data get transferred across those different machines with this different specification. It's the same for banks. Banking systems, some of them are 40 years old. I don't know if you remember in the pandemic, the city of New York was desperately looking for COBOL developers. And that's because all of the payment systems for the city of New York were designed 40 years ago. They were written in COBOL, and they needed people to update them because there were a lot more online payments happening because of the pandemic. It's the same with banking systems. So some of those systems haven't been touched in years. Some of them are brand new. And all of those systems represent monies as 1 and 0. Technically, it's not binary. It's literally 1. But nobody knows what that 1 is, right? €1 is 1. £1 is 1. So even if those people try to communicate with each other, somehow they can't. So we created this interoperability layer as the protocol. The Interledger protocol is literally a bunch of words on a piece of paper which describe a set of rules that govern communications and clearing between different ledgers. In our world, ledgers is actually accounting ledgers. So while a bank has an accounting ledger, a blockchain is technically an accounting ledger. Starbucks has an accounting ledger. They're actually one of the biggest banks in the US is Starbucks because of those reward cards they have. Yeah. So they process more transactions and they make more money than Amex, which is probably the third largest card scheme in the US, and that's because they have a ledger, they have a banking license. They allow you to top up money on those reward cards and pay with them in stores. So they have their own card scheme. The only difference is there's no way to take money out of those. And that's actually how they make a lot of money, because people get their money locked in with Starbucks. Starbucks uses those money in financial systems, and that's it. The moment you put money into Starbucks is the moment you spend those money, and Starbucks now has those money. But all of these systems are not connected. Even if you try to interconnect them today, some of them can't. Some of them don't believe in network access. Some of them work on MPLS in an Oracle cloud, and the way to communicate to them is through a phone call. So we created Interledger to kind of bridge all of these things. Now, I think the biggest difference for us is because of the digital wallets that are adopting the Interledger protocol and that have joined the network. All of them are financially regulated. So they have a banking license or an electronic money institution license or a money servicing business license or some sort of crypto asset provider, crypto asset manager license. So to join the public Interledger network, you need to have a financial license. Technically, there is a second network that's being developed right now, which is for individual users. So me as an individual user, I couldn't join the public network. I have to go get the wallet or get a wallet address from one of the institutions that has a license and will give me Interledger access, right? And then I can do fun stuff with Interledger. But if I was just an individual and I wanted to join the network, I can. So there's a separate project called DASI. If you Google that, do not look for cute furry animals from South Africa. Our team has a South African component, so a lot of our names, a lot of the tools we use start out as South African in origin. So we have DASI, which is basically Interledger network designed for crypto and individual users. Stefan, the co-creator of Interledger, has written that from the ground up, and I think it's working now on the XRP ledger, and you could join a crypto Interledger network. We have the ability to exchange value from different ledgers, and that's what we mean by cross-ledger, right? And a ledger can mean a ledger means so many things in this world. It's really hard to define. So a bank has a ledger, but then you have countries where a whole country has multiple layers of ledgers, right? So when you think about bank-to-bank transfer right now, that's usually what you do. You can't move money from a regular bank in Romania to the central bank of England. You have to move money from a regular bank in Romania to a regular bank in the UK, and then the regular bank in the UK can move the money in the central bank ledger. With Interledger, we can connect all of these separate ledgers, and you can start making transfers from crypto or a crypto asset provider into the central bank of some remote country in the world that's joined Interledger.
Interesting. That makes a lot of sense, and it added more clarity for me on where the differences between like TBDs or TBDEX and Interledger are. I'm almost thinking there's probably opportunities for us to work together, but I do want to move into the web monetization standard just because we're at the 30-minute mark, so we're moving fast. And I do see questions in the audience as well, but I'm gonna save those for a little bit after. So my question on web monetization, right? So my understanding is this like a JavaScript API that allows content creators to receive micropayments, right? And when people visit or view content, like they'll be able to get these micropayments without having that paywall or ads. So I have a lot of questions. And my first question is, what's considered a micropayment? Like, is it like, 1 cent to like $1 is a micropayment? Like, what does a micropayment even mean?
How low do you think a micropayment is? Like, how low do you think the financial systems can go today?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm like 1 cent. I don't know.
You can't. So if you wanted to send money to Ioana today, on Visa and MasterCard on the card networks. If you want to use your card, $1 is the lowest amount you can pay. And out of that dollar, the card networks take 30 cents plus 2.75%. So you lose about 33 cents in the transaction if you try to send $1. And nobody will let you transact below because all of those systems are really old. If you let everybody pay a cent, you won't be able to accept $1 million payments because your system is blocked. So because they can't make their systems faster, they will limit the size of the transaction. So today, Ioana left. Today, a micropayment is considered anything below $5 in the financial world. Micropayment. Welcome back, Ioana. So in the financial world, a micropayment is considered below $5. We are doing the 100th part of a cent.
I
think that means nanocents. Yeah, I think that means nanocents. So we're doing nanocents.
Gotcha. I understand now. It's kind of like when you swipe your card or something like that, they have to take a certain amount from you. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Interesting. Okay, and then my other question, I know you didn't get to speak as much, so maybe my other question is, how does it really remove that need for like ads or paywalls? Like, who's paying to view the content then? Is it the person? Like, I visit a website and I'm like, if I want to read this blog post, I need to pay. That still feels like a paywall. I'm trying to understand the user experience.
Well, it's not a paywall if you want to pay something or you want to support someone, like other third-party apps that allows you to pay for someone's work without even knowing what's coming up, because you appreciate the work done before, or you appreciate everything that they did for community and you have the experience. So paywall might be one of the things that the developer or a content creator or publisher, how we call it, might choose to do for them, because Interledger is not only one thing, or like web monetization is not only one way of implementing the API. We will add, it's just a connection between a user that wants to pay and a user that is paid, meaning publisher, like I mentioned. For us, we mostly talk about at this point of content creation or media generation. Think of someone that puts out something on the web. Can be technical documentation, can be coding, can be programs, can be games, anything on the platform. So if you want to support them right now, you will be able to connect your wallet. Like Alex mentioned earlier, we work with digital wallets. Those wallets to pay pointers to them. And you decide if you pay once to support, if you pay every time you read something on their web just to support it. So yes, someone has to pay. Is not generated by ads, but more like you support and you choose who you want to support with your own amount of money. And you can decide this month I want to spend this much, and it's gonna be split among the time you're spending on certain websites that are web monetized or the ones that you chose to monetize. You can opt out from monetizing some of the pages, especially because you can choose who you help based on your values. Again, if you're not matching on the values, you don't want to support some kind of content or anything that is created, you can opt out of that. And yes, it is on the user that wants to support the work of others. In a way, that's why we talk about micropayments, because we don't expect people to put, I don't know, a large amount of money to support, but multiple micropayments from multiple donors / supporters / users that read your content would make it to a larger amount of money.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. It's kind of like how you will feel about Patreon or GitHub sponsors. You're like, I want to continue to support this work that this creator is doing. Oh wait, and my last question before we dive into the demo is basically, and it's for either of you, right? I've seen on the website for the web monetization standard or the proposed standard that like Interledger or the web monetization wouldn't be possible without Interledger. I'm curious, what role did it play? For what role did Interledger play in web monetization? Either of you.
This is for Alex. He has the history behind.
Okay,
But
I'm gonna be short.
Rizal, in the meanwhile, I did post on the chat. I can comment since for everyone else, two things that I think will help when Alex was mentioning about the web protocol versus Interledger, those kind of things, the article that I mentioned literally showcased that. And now that we are talking about the W3C proposal, we can also follow this on GitHub. Go ahead, Alex.
So Web Monetization, the standard, was designed to work with any payment rails. But the idea behind it was that I could pay the stream while I'm watching it, right? The moment you have to go and pay the dollar from the stream while I'm watching it, 33 cents gets lost. So how do I pay? Do I pay $5 now? And then if I close the stream in 2 minutes, I overpaid? Or do you have to wait for me to see your stream for 20 minutes and then you charge me the $5, right? There's no way to make this money move. So we had to go super low so that you could pay in real time. The moment that became a thing, there were only a few things that could support this level of payments. We had to scale Interledger to be able to accommodate for Web Monetization not being a standard between 5,000 people, for this being a standard for millions of people. So Interledger supports 1 million transactions per second per node. So every financial institution, when they exchange money with the different financial institutions, they can do 1 million transactions per second. And that is why Web Monetization is built today on Interledger. It's because it's the only one that supports it. But if tomorrow any one of the other payment rails supports anywhere close, like it doesn't have to be 1 million transactions per second. I think we're showing off with 1 million transactions per second. In 2022, the whole country of India did 72 billion transactions. That's, I can remember, the transactions per second topped out at about 2,000. That's about how many transactions per second they needed in that system. In the same year, Interledger did 70 billion transactions with 5,000 people. So we're kind of showing off, but it's designed to work on anything. It just works on Interledger today. Now, we at Interledger have participated in writing the spec. We're working with other people at the W3C. Actually, Ioana and I are going to be in Anaheim, California next week for TPAC. If anyone is at TPAC, come say hi. We'll be around. But we are participating with other people in the industry, with people from like news organizations that are interested in adopting this style of monetization, all the way to some engineers from Chrome who have donated some of their time for a Chromium implementation, to review a Chromium implementation we're doing right now. So it's kind of a collaborative effort, and we at Interledger, I think we were there from the beginning, and we've helped steer the ship. But the ship is full of people. The ship is full of people.
And you can see now on the link really right now the report of everything that is implemented, and earlier on the GitHub where you can even contribute if you want.
That's
the beauty
so
of open source.
That's awesome. I love looking at like web standards, and TBD's implemented a couple, or we've worked together with other people to implement a couple of our own and stuff like that. So that's exciting. I do want to. I realize it's already 43 minutes, so let's dive into the demo, and then we have like a few questions from the audience, and let's see how much more questions I can ask you. I don't know if I'll be able to get through this entire doc.
We need to do a new follow-up. It's like, this was too short.
Yeah.
Let's do the demo, Alex. Let's start the...
Yeah.
Till Alex uploads his screen to share, I want to say that we are very close to having the extension, which is just the medium that we chose at this moment in time to support web monetization easier till it's implemented in the browsers as an open standard that it will be adopted. We are negotiating, discussing, debating with the different developers how to integrate it in browsers directly and other platforms. But at the same time, we found that an extension can help us facilitate this. We are in a private beta testing right now. If you do want to learn more, you can write to me, Ioana at interledger.org, and we can make it work. Till now, we are using the test money, Rafiki money that we have implemented to facilitate the testing with real money. I also saw users were concerned about the audits we have and all that. We are also testing with quote quote fake money at this point, so we don't affect the economics of this world with too many testing going.
Right.
Alex.
Yeah,
Right, so I hope everybody can see my screen. Web monetization is designed so the web has a way to request payment. As a website, you can request payment through the aptly named payment request API. So, for example, if I'm trying to buy something from a website, right? I'm in a checkout flow. The website can show me a pop-up that says, "Put in your card details, and we'll send you money." But if I'm a website, I have no way to signal the fact that I would like to accept some money. So, for example, this is my website. You can see I've had a very busy time here at Interledger by the fact that I haven't written a blog post since 2021 when I joined. But this is my website, right? I have no ads because if you go on AdSense, it tells you that the first step to get AdSense is to create the right type of website and then get an AdSense account. Apparently, my small little blog wasn't the right type of website. I couldn't put in ads. And even if I could put in ads, I don't really want people to see ads. The whole idea with that is I want them to be off my website as soon as possible so I make some money off of them. No, I want them to stay on my website so I make money off of them, right? So I've added web monetization into my page. I'll show you how to add web monetization later. Literally, it's one line of HTML. Now I've added this on my website. As a web monetized user, the only thing I have to do is install the web monetization extension. We have a closed beta right now. If you really like this stream, please message Ioana or I, and we'll get you into the closed beta. We'll give you some money to test out so you can see how web monetization works. We're still trying to iron out the kinks so that when this hits live, we've nailed the user experience. Everybody's happy. There's no concerns about where your money is going and how that works. So right now, as I'm sitting here and talking to you, the web monetization extension is paying my website in real time a little bit of money. So if I go into the console, you can see that I've paid.
Could you
so
zoom
far,
in? It's
yeah,
really...
I can zoom in. So you can see I paid a couple of cents every 6 seconds. And the more I spend on this website, the more money goes out. Let me try to, yeah. So I'm spending this much money on this website every time. Now, the more I stay on it, the more money the website gets, right? That's the whole idea with web monetization. I can monetize my website by actually providing value to the users, not by trying to shoo them off my website as fast as possible so I can make some money from them. The web monetization extension has a lot of options and a lot of configs. So for example, right now I'm being generous and I'm paying $1 per hour. That is my rate of pay. And that is because I put up like $50 for web monetization. I live in a part of the world where $50 doesn't mean anything, or $50 means I can afford that. But if I lived in a part of the world where I really couldn't afford that, I could pay a cent an hour, because in some parts of the world, $1 means a lot. So I can't spend $1 an hour. Maybe I can spend $1 a month, right? And I can spend that. So we've made the rate of pay adjustable. And then you also can decide if you want to continuously stream payment, which I am continuously paying the website, or not. So if you don't want to pay continuously, you have the ability either way. So if you like this website and you'd like to support it, if you're supporting my website, don't do more than $2. It's not that good of a website. I haven't updated it in a while. But if I want to pay this website, right? If I want to pay this website and be generous with myself, I can send $10 and the website gets $10. And you can see the amount incoming, which was, so I sent $10 and the website got $9.8. And that's because we're using in here for testing purposes, we're using our test wallet. If you want an account with a test wallet, you can go to rafiki.money, the Interledger test wallet, and you can get an account. Now, the test wallet is set to simulate worst case real world conditions. So it took about almost 2% on that transaction. The network is the network algorithm that we use is designed to incentivize a race to the bottom. So most transactions are between 1 and 2%. Between 1 and 2%. There are some transactions which are 0% fees, but if you're doing a test money transaction, we'll always try to take as much as we can from 2% just to see how the network algorithm performs. But that's Web Monetization in a box. It's simple. You install the extension, you put in your details, and you never have to think about it. You navigate to a website, and it's all passive, right? You set it up once, and then you start. Now, as a website, I'm a lazy web developer, but as a web developer, you have a bunch of APIs, JavaScript APIs, basically the Web Monetization API that allows you to react to these payments. Right now, I'm just listing them in the console, but you can react them in these. And so that's how you can do paywall. That's how you can do premium content. That's how you can do premium features or a little thank you message. You can react to money coming in. And if you really want to put monetization into your website, it's a single, like what I have is the easiest implementation in the world. It's a single line of JavaScript. So in here, you have this new link type, which is link relationship monetization. And the href is my payment pointer. And that is it. In order to get the payment pointer or wallet address, you go to one of the wallets that are implementing it. You get your wallet address from them, and that's it. There's actually two real money wallets that are good to go today, with the third one joining soon. Actually, you can get the payment pointer, but you can't use Web Monetization on it yet. So one of the ones where you can use Web Monetization is Finboss. They have accounts in the US, Canada, South Africa, and Europe. And the other one is GateHub, where you have accounts around the world. I think most countries supported is by GitHub at this point. And the third one is Chi-Money. The third one is a Canadian wallet with accounts across the world that's joining the Interledger network as we speak. They're already providing payment pointers. We're still waiting for them to enable Web Monetization on the payment pointers. But that's about it. That's the quick and easy demo of Web Monetization. If you want to hear more, learn more, see how all of this works, webmonetization.org. Webmonetization.org is your friend. You can read the documentation. You can understand how it works. You can read the specification.
Awesome. This was actually really cool. I just wanted to quickly note, I think I hear feedback in the background from somebody, but I'm not sure who. So if possible, if you're not speaking, mute. But you were going to say something, Ioana. Sorry.
Yeah, I wanted exactly to showcase, just 1 second. I uploaded my screen to share because I want to show one fraction, the new extension, and let me know if it works for you, if you see it. Because in the public beta that we do with real money, with public-private beta, at the moment we'll do it, you use your wallet address and the payment pointer like this and the same amount. And of course, you can slide like Alex was showing and everything afterwards. But I wanted to showcase that even here, when you start at the beginning, you will be sent. Chi-Monkey, like Alex said, is just starting now we help them with a grant to implement it. But at this point, you can find all the details about the wallet and the first steps to use Web Monetization if needed in our docs. Of course, linked to the first main page that Alex shared, and I also passed the link in the comments, where you also have the specification in the corner to follow up the official work for the web standards done.
Thank you. It's really cool that you all put a link to the wallet so that people know which one they can leverage. All right. So
yeah, one thing with the wallets, just to mention to people, these are, I would say, third parties. Yes, we are partners with them. We work together, but those are not Interledger's work. So the platform, one of their function is to support monetization with the digital wallets, but it's a wallet at the end of the day that you can use for other type of payments, other type of transactions. So anything that you would experience on their website setting up, it's totally on them. Of course, again, being partners with them, we can report bugs, ask for improvements, help them out. We help each other out, but that's on a different platform and digital entity at the end of the day.
That makes a lot of sense. So we do have some questions in the audience. I don't know if some of them, if possible, if the answers could be brief, but One question I think is interesting. They said, what kind of auditing has the Interledger protocol gone through, and which independent orgs have performed the audits?
So I don't know. I don't know if this counts as an independent org. The IRS audits the ILF on a regular basis. So we pass financial audits every single year. We have a security audit by a third-party company every single year on all the tech stack. We do penetration testing, static code analysis, and automated security checks every single day. That report gets published out. So technically, the report comes to us first. We get the chance to fix those bugs, and then we publish the report out into the open. I can't remember the name of our security auditor. My name escapes it, but if you hit me up on Twitter, I will for sure find this for you. It's a third-party company. We didn't choose the company. A bunch of people from the Interledger network, so the people participating in the network, chose the security company, and we audit our software every year because that software is used by the wallet.
Interesting.
And at the end of the day, you can audit yourself as the code is open source. I just love
That
that.
what Ioana said. Exactly what Ioana said.
That's true. That's what I love about open source for TBD as well. We also have another question that says, how easy or quick is it to set up a wallet? And I guess we kind of saw it a bit. They asked us before the demo for web monetization or micropayments. And what is this part is interesting to me. Like, what's the KYC or the know your customer process?
Because they're regulated, the KYC is the same for your bank. So whatever you have to do to get a bank account in your country is probably whatever you're going to have to do KYC for the wallet.
Yeah. It also really depends on the country. I did try several, both Romanian and Germany. They will ask for tax ID in which one you want. If you are US citizen, you are not US citizen, because the law depends. So it's totally, again, according to the law of finance.
Interesting. And then Austin, he said he came in a little bit late, but he was curious, like, does this track how long they've been on the site? Because I know you said like $1 per hour and charge a teeny amount per hour.
No. So this charges, the rate of pay is just, if you were to stay on that website for an hour, how much would you pay over the time of that hour? But no, it actually charges teeny amounts per second. Every second you're on that website, you pay that website. That's the whole idea with micropayments, right? So the payments I was making were the 100th part of a cent, $0.009.
Yeah, they will not say, 10 minutes, this is your bill, check out after you close the tab. It is literally on while you're there, each 2 to 3 seconds sends money.
Okay, so the billion tabs open, that wouldn't affect it.
That only works on the current tab, on the active tab. Yeah.
Yes, the InFocus tab.
Gotcha.
Oh wow, I would have to pay so much money. Good reminder, this because I'm the million tabs opened.
Yeah.
And before anyone starts panicking about that weird noise that always comes out of a browser, that tab that always plays some sound, we do not pay for those. So you pay for the tab that is in focus right now. If you have audio or video playing in a different tab, those don't get monetized.
Okay. And then my other question to you all, before we wrap up, is I'm curious, what are some advanced use cases that you've seen of any implementations of some of your projects or ILP that weren't possible before? I know web monetization is one of them. Are there any others?
So one of the things that we spent a bit of time right now working with the Jordan Payments and Jordan Payments and Clearing Company, which is the company that runs the Jordan Payments infrastructure. So they're one of the most modern and innovative payment infrastructures in the world. They got live, I think, in the pandemic 2021. And they've got the newest stack, the most modern software ever. And one of the things that they wanted to do was account delegation, payment delegation into accounts, which is right now, if you're in Europe, or if you're trying to do open banking in the UK, you kind of have to give people access into your whole account and then trust them to only make payment out of that account. Nobody does. Everybody scrapes the data. Everybody gets everything they can get their hands on. And then maybe they'll make a payment for you. So they wanted to restrict so that I can approve a payment from my account, but they do not get access to anything else in my account. So we are working with them to enable open payments, one of our APIs in the whole country of Jordan, because that is the magic sauce behind web monetization. That's what makes web monetization possible. And I think that's gonna have to be your googling your way into it, because it's a very long topic of how we manage to use the next iteration. So everybody's on OAuth right now, and we are using the next iteration of OAuth called GNAP, Grant Negotiation and Authorization Protocol, in order to enable this. So for Interledger and the tech stack to exist today, we either had to use the bleeding edge software like GNAP that's designed for granting access into resources, not accounts. So I can grant access people to like $5 into my account, not my whole account. And then in other parts of the stack, we just had to build our own. So if you're using any modern database today, like Mongo, for example, it tops out at about 60,000 transactions per second. And the more resources you put on it, networking becomes a problem. If you shard it, networking becomes a problem. So it really tops out at about 60,000, and maybe it's going to cost you about 17K a month in a cloud system to run that database. We had to write our own database from the ground up in a modern programming language called Zig, and the database is called Tiger Beetle, in order to achieve the performance of a million TPS.
Oh, wow. And wait, I know I said that was my last question, but oh no, my camera overheated. That's why I was trying to rush. My camera always overheats around like an hour. I'll just use my MacBook camera. Not going to be as cute, but sorry. Oh, I came back. It probably not for long though. Okay, cool. So I have one last question. I know that I said that was like my last question, but I came across this concept of like probabilistic revenue sharing. And let me just find specifically what I wanted to say. Oh yeah, I was curious, like, what are the advantages of this over like a traditional revenue sharing models? If you're prepared to talk about that.
Well, actually, think about the stream, right? Let's say we monetize the stream. There's three of us here. How do we monetize this stream? Like, there's three authors here, there's three creators on a stream. How do we monetize this? We could pool or what YouTube does is actually, it says who set up the account. Okay, we'll put all the money in that account, and then you'll have to trust those people that they'll pay you for your time on stream, right? I know about you. I know me and Ioana look very trustful, but we're all Romanians here. I mean, we're Romanian. I wouldn't trust me. Definitely, you shouldn't trust me, right? So if the money hits me or Ioana, you're never gonna see your money again. So then you have to figure out a way. Ioana, maybe Ioana's trustful. But I'm old school Romanian. No, but that's the idea, right? It's based on trust, and the monetization systems don't really account for multiple creators, right? There's only one. In probabilistic revenue sharing, what we've done is we have changed the way the web monetization payment pointer works based on who lands on the website. So somebody lands on the website and they start paying Ioana. Somebody else lands on the website and they start paying me. Somebody else lands on the website and they start paying you. The problem is, and here's the thing, it's not perfect, right? It's a way to split money. And that's probabilistic because the probability of whoever's watching the stream and paying me staying as long as whoever's watching the stream and paying Rizal is not as much, right? If probably people are staying different times and paying different amounts for each stream. But that is an easy way to split revenue, saying, hey, we're going to split the traffic down the middle. Each individual pays either me or you or Ioana, and then we'll see. The money gets split. It's not an even split. And if you think about it, I don't think we worked evenly. Like, Rizal, you've set up this stream, you've set up the channel. It doesn't feel fair, like, for me and Ioana to get the same amount of money, right? So we're letting chance determine who gets money when on the stream. But at the end of the day, all of us get some money out of it.
That's a very interesting concept. Thank you for explaining it to me. I read a blog post about it, but I think the way you described it is much more clear to me. All right. So I realized I never pressed play on, or I never did the quiz for the audience. So we're going to do a quick quiz for audience. We'll come back and I'll basically like I'll give some resources. I usually do like a quick game with you all as well, and then we'll wrap up from there. So I'm going to put the quiz on. And let's Okay, cool. Thank you all for participating in the quiz. It was pretty short this time. Okay, so I got a lot of takeaways from this conversation. Thank you all for coming to share your thoughts. I feel like, from my understanding, like while TBD and Interledger have similar goals, we're kind of taking different approaches. Like you all have basically set up this protocol for how different ledgers, and that's like the terminology in your case, can basically send money to each other or be able to have some type of like connection or cross ledger way that they can like send money through, and kind of like you're using you're using that same model as the I think you said TCP type of model.
TCP/IP.
Sorry. Yeah, the networking. Sorry.
The internet protocol.
Yeah, the internet protocol. And then, but for TBD, we're more, sorry, my brain's just processing everything. But basically for TBD, we more provide an SDK that allows different, I guess in our case, our ledgers are called participating financial institutions, to have like a shared like language where they can be able to send money back and forth. I think I'm the type of person that's like, if we're working on similar things, there's probably ways to work together. That way, like the work could get done faster or more smoothly. I don't know if there's probably different opportunities, especially since we're open source as well. I'm actually curious too, like what are the steps needed for like wider adoption of something like web monetization?
So we track down the problem. We track down the problem into two things: users and publishers. Well, actually, users who can get the wallet, and then publishers. So we are actively looking for publishers, content creators, individuals who have a website to adopt web monetization. If you're interested in trying that out or in putting that in your website, reach out to Ioana and I. Both are happy to sit with you and handhold you through the integration, kind of talk through it. And if you're looking for support for putting that into your website, we also have support streams available for helping you adopt web monetization. And if you're a user and would just like to browse the web and pay websites occasionally, if you're willing to participate in our beta and give us feedback and kind of help us out, we'll put some money in your account. I can't remember. I think it's $10 or something like that. We'll put $10 in your account and we'll let you roam the web. We'll let you roam the web and pay the web around. Because web monetization, I think the secret, not so secret tagline we have in mind, me and Ioana, is pay the web forward. So if you want to pay the web forward, reach out to me and Ioana.
Awesome. Thank you. And I did put a couple of like throughout this talk of this stream, I've been sharing some links that Ioana has been sharing. So like Interledger, get involved. I shared the wallet that you guys have called Rafiki. Also the web monetization standard for folks to stay updated on whether that like on the status of it. Because I know it's like a proposed standard. So those are all really interesting things. All right, so I usually end with a quick game with the guest, and the audience can play along too. And it's a really simple game. It's nothing crazy. Basically, I say a statement. It's not one that I necessarily believe in. It could be slightly controversial. Nothing that's like, oh no, you'll get in trouble. But like maybe like pineapple belongs on pizza or something like that. And basically, all you need to do.
Definitely, pineapple belongs on pizza. Yes, yes.
I don't. I'm with her. I don't think so. But we could do a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and if you want to elaborate, you can. So my first statement is: early mornings are better for getting work done than the night. Thumbs up or thumbs down? So Alex is like a night owl. I like the night too.
I am wide awake at 1 a.m. on this stream. I think if this
It
was at
is
8 a.m.
exactly.
No, so it's literally 1 a.m. in Singapore right now, and I'm on the stream. If you set this up for 8 a.m., it would have never happened.
That's true. I was concerned. I was like, at midnight, are you sure you want to be on? But you seem very bubbly. Sorry, go ahead. You were
No,
gonna
he's
say
just starting, I think. I think he's just starting. I want to say that if you do it at 8 a.m., I will be coming to the podcast discussion after I did the 6 a.m. run, which I do like the ritual before conference and everything. So, yeah, mornings for me, it's always easier to do smooth everything work. Yeah.
it looks like our audience member agrees about mornings. For me, I wish I was a morning person, but my brain works way better at like 2 a.m. All right. Next one is being a manager is more rewarding than being an individual contributor. Thumbs up or thumbs down? You say maybe.
It is more rewarding, but it's definitely much harder. Like you don't like an individual contributor, you see faster the results. Exactly like this. You see faster the results. You know it's your own work. Sometimes with the manager, you see results in the team, you see results in the product, everything, but you don't have the clarity that yeah, this is because I stayed so much or helped someone so much, or you have to really trust the process that everything is smooth when the people in the team are happy, doing great job, and then it's when your success comes. But it's not a straightforward line like for the ICT.
Gotcha. It sounds like it's rewarding, but there's not quick gratification. It takes long.
Yes, nah, exactly. It's not, you don't get too many likes when you're proposing processes or processes are helping the team. It's definitely not thumbs up all the time. Alex, you are like
It's also
not
not.
believing it.
Also not. It's okay. I feel like I had more satisfaction as an individual contributor because I could see my code live in production, and now as a leader, those satisfactions come at a really high cost. We believe in servant leadership here at Interledger. All the engineering managers and myself practice servant leadership. So we sacrifice a lot for our engineers to feel satisfaction, to feel rewarding. Sometimes that does not feel rewarding at the end of the day when it's like 2 a.m. and I'm on a call with somebody because I'm trying to accommodate that time zone. It does not feel very rewarding. But at certain times, as you see people grow, you see the work we do as a whole organization, and yeah, at the end of the year. So at the end of the year, I have a gratitude cycle. I think right now that we're in crunch time and we're a month before our international event. So if you're in South Africa on the 18th, no, on the 19th of October, we have a hackathon in South Africa where you can hack with the open payment APIs. If you're in South Africa, in Cape Town, 25, 26, 27 of October, we have the Interledger Summit. So now that we're a week away from that, a month away from that, it does not feel very rewarding. A month away from that, we're calming. No, but it does not feel very rewarding, right? After the summit is done and everybody kind of takes off, I'll feel like it was rewarding again.
I feel you. I get you. I remember when I used to have to, well, I didn't do as much part of GitHub Universe planning, but it was like stressful, exhausting until like we got to the end. All right. And then my last statement for y'all is I'd rather vacation somewhere cold than somewhere tropical. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs down. Okay. Me too. Oh, maybe for you?
So I am Again, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, I would just prefer vacationing all the time. Sorry, Alex. Vacationing anywhere is good, so I will take it. If it's cold, I'll just get way more dressed, but I'm up for a hike on the mountain, some skiing, or even just, mule wine next to a fire. It's cold outside, but still I would enjoy it. I love vacationing.
I'm very glad and very happy we have an unlimited time off policy at Interledger. Ioana, you can have as much vacation as you want.
I love that too. I love
for me,
vacation. I didn't realize I was on mute, but I love unlimited vacation because it's like whenever you want. But I don't like the cold, so I wouldn't go for that. All right. Thank you so much to people who tuned in. Really appreciated your comments and your engagement. And then also thank you so much to the guests, especially that I know this time zone, you all are in different time zones than me, like Europe and Asia as well. So I really appreciate your time and the knowledge you shared and the energy as well. Thank you and see you all next Friday. Bye.
We announced it. TBDEX 1.0 SDK is now out.
TBDEX is an open protocol that makes moving value around the world much more efficient and streamlined. We're solving this problem with TBDEX by building a standard open source protocol that anyone can use for free and plug into.
We're super excited to have developers be able to start looking at this technology and start implementing it. We've put together a new financial protocol that we believe can fundamentally revolutionize the way that we think about transmitting value around the world.